Well, thank you for viewing our October 26th Intermediate Planning webinar. Today we'll be going over applying an N inhibitor to anhydrous ammonia for work scenarios within Profit Zone Manager. Our schedule and agenda for today, we'll go through our introduction, select a field where you're looking to apply an N inhibitor, select zones and work scenarios representing standard assumptions and associated costs, and then we'll compare return on investment on zones and scenarios. And then we're also going to look at a scenario that actually happened where an N inhibitor was applied and where it was not applied on a rain event year. And then we'll follow up with any questions anyone might have. And I do want to explain our webinar series. So we are in Q&A mode, so if you have a question during the webinar, you can type in your question in the chat box below. You can see my contact information, my email, the support team's email, and then also my cell phone number. And my name is Dan Ba. I'm one of the Precision Business Planning Specialists here at AgSolver. So we'll get right into it. So I'm going to minimize the chat box. Be working out of the AgSolver Training Enterprise. So for this scenario, we're going to be working on one of my family's fields, and so on the grandma's fields. And so once it pulls up, what we'll be looking at is 2015 actual corn production, what actually happened in 2015 for us. So give you a little bit of background on the fertility management of this field. We're in 20-inch corn rows. So we front load all of our nitrogen in the spring. We apply right around 170 pounds of N. And so with theory of 0.8 pounds of N to grow about a bushel of corn is where we are with our nitrogen efficiency. And so when we look, we had a field average yield of right around 209 bushels. Our profit, return on investment, total field profit there at the bottom. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to create a scenario and base it off of expected 2017 corn production with 170 units or pounds of N applied to grow 210 bushel. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on the green copy scenario button. And we're going to base this scenario off of our 2015. We're using 2015 yield source of 209 bushels. We're going to call this 2017 corn production, 170 pounds of N. So what we're doing, we're creating a carbon copy of that actual production corn 2015 scenario and renaming it. And then within that, we're going to edit the crop budget to represent 2017 commodity prices and input prices. So commodity price, we're actually going to go $325 for next year. So our equipment cost is going to be relatively the same as it was in 2015. Seed costs, we're going to leave that at $130. And then we come down to fertilizer. So we spent about $50 on anhydrous, and then $35 on P and $40 on K. What we're going to do, so we got 2017 fertilizer prices, and so supplying anhydrous, it'd be $44.20 if we're applying 170 units. Price per ton was right around $430 per ton. Divide that by by 1,640, and then take that times your total units to get our cost on a per acre basis. So we're at $44.20, and then all we're doing is updating our commodity price and updating our anhydrous cost. On the protection side, herbicide and insecticide, we're going to leave that at $45. Insurance, it's going to be right around $24 at 85% coverage with rain and hail. So we have our land costs, everything in there. So we're going to go ahead and click the green Save button to show what 2017 looks like. So based off of commodity prices and our updated budget, we're going to make a little money. Looking at in 2017, about $7. Have 1% return on investment, make about $800 on this 116 acre field. Now our next scenario is that we're going to create a scenario to reduce our applied pounds of anhydrous, applied pounds of N3 anhydrous to 145 pounds, and then add additional cost of the N inhibitor, and then also increase yield by 3% to stretch that nitrogen throughout the growing year. What we're going to do, we're going to copy scenario. And this time we're going to base it off of our 2017 corn production, 170 pounds. We're just going to change this 2017 corn production, 145 pounds of N with N. So in the N inhibitor, about $12 an acre. So updating that. And we're going to update our crop budget under the options tab right beside the scenario name. Click on edit budget. We're at 325 corn. Equipment's the same, seed's the same. But what we're gonna do now is drop our cost of anhydrous, since we're applying less product out there, to $37.70. But we're also going to add a subcategory. So we're going to click on the plus button, and we're going to click on our products tab and select other. We'll call this an inhibitor at $12 an acre. So we reduced our overall applied N and added the additional product of the N inhibitor, leaving everything else the same. Come back up and click Save. Now we're going to adjust our yield goal from 209 bushel to 215. So how we will change our yield source, we're going to click on the green Add Zone button underneath our scenario 2017 corn production, 145 units of N with N inhibitor. Our drawing tools pop up. We have a polygon drawing tool, circle drawing tool, or we can select a whole field zone. I'm just going to select the whole field zone since we're applying N-serve across the entire field, or we're adjusting the yield on the entire field. We're going to call this yield adjust and take it up 3%. Crop budget's the same, 325 corn, along with our reduced applied anhydrous with the additional product of the N inhibitor within that budget. Go ahead and click Save. And this scenario is dependent on weather, so trying to predict the weather a year from now. But the way I see this scenario, it's the N inhibitor is acting as an insurance policy. So if we do have a rain event heavy year, we're protected. So now we are going to compare scenarios. So click on the options drop-down menu right beside the field name. At the very top, we have the compare scenarios option. That pulls up this window. So on the left-hand side, we have our standard production where we apply 170 pounds of N through Anhydrous for the corn crop, front load everything, didn't change the yield, and put in 2017 expected commodity prices along with input prices. And you can see, if we scroll down, where we're projected to make about $800 across the entire field. Whereas if we front load all of our nitrogen, reduce our anhydrous rates, but apply that additional N-serve or N inhibitor, and then increase our yield to 214 or 215, you can see now we're going to make about $21 an acre compared to about $7. We take return on investment from 1% to 3%. Improved our production efficiency by about 6 bushel. Decreased our acreage opportunity ratio and working capital. What I really like is looking at the break-even cost by applying that additional cost of product. With the N-serve, we were able to drop our break-even commodity price by just a little bit. But more importantly, by that 3% yield increase, we went from a profit of $800 to a profit of $2,500. So, and this is all speculation of 2017, where the real meat and potatoes is showing examples, real living examples that actually happened. So here on this field, this is a field located in Indiana, where the area that we're going to be looking at is on the west side of the field. On the east side, there's water management issues, so we're not going to really focus on that area. But we're going to be looking at where they opted out and not to apply the anhydrous with N-serve or N inhibitor. And you can tell the definite line in the streak. And with this, we're looking at 2015 data, yield data. This is when they had a rain event heavy year. And then on the right-hand side, they mocked up the scenario. If they went ahead and applied that N-serve, readjusted the yield to where it was right next to match that area and have it even up, you can see they took a field average yield from 145 bushels to 157, so increased yield by 12 bushel. But more importantly, they went from a profit loss of $33 an acre to a profit of $9 an acre. Decreased return on investment loss by about, or increased return on investment by about 7%, 8%. They were able to decrease their break-even commodity price by about 30 cents in 2015, and they had about a $4,700 profit swing on this field. So, and this is where you can also use Profit Zone Manager to see if the profit performance of a applied product on your field pays or not. So this is a nice, real, living, working example of this scenario. And in the scenario that I created on one of our fields, it was planning, and then you can come back and see, all right, did it pay for itself? What we could have also done is split this field in half, where we applied the N-serve on north side and south side. We didn't, to see come fall of 2017 if that product paid off or not. So now I'd like to open up the floor for any questions anyone might have regarding this scenario. And I do want to mention, after this webinar is complete, it will be posted onto our YouTube channel, Ag Solver YouTube channel, where you can go back, rewatch this webinar, and please, if you have any questions, shoot me an email, or even better, give me a call so we can set up a webinar and go through this particular scenario within your own fields and within your enterprise. So thank you for joining our October 26th webinar. Thank you.